The study of history is often sold to us as an objective investigation of the past and a process of finding truth. Well, this isn't the case. In fact, history says much more about us and the context that we're in than it does about the past event or figure in question. When analyzed, historical figures are typically placed in this dichotomy of villain and hero, and their lives are recounted to us through these prescribed character arcs. They go a bit like this. So we start off with the innocent and oblivious individual. They go through conflict, they resist, there's a happy ending, and with background and a hero is made. This art is a simplified and reductive tale, and we as a collective often overlook the sacrifices that are being made in that resistance stage, and we too easily conclude historical stories that were never actually resolved. This depiction is not only wrong, but it's problematic for oversimplifying individuals and ignoring the complexities of their lives. In my study of anti-racist movements, I've seen this process in action due to the glamorization of Black Power struggles both in America and in Britain. In 2019, I conducted research for my undergraduate dissertation on the 1970 Mangrove Nine trial. Now, to my surprise, this research became an oral history project which continues to this day. While uncovering these often overlooked histories of Black Britain, I came across a range of Black radical figures from around the world, and this led me to question the way that these individuals are constructed both in academia but also in society at large. For context, Black Power politics emerged in the late 1960s, 70s in America against a backdrop of racial violence and segregation. This political ideology was advocated for by individuals such as Stokely Carmichael and many of those who were in organizations like the American Black Panther Party. Concurrently, Black Power also found ground in Britain with key figures such as Nigerian Obi Egbuna and Trinidadians Darcus Howe and Althea Jones LeQuant, who were leading the transatlantic movement over here. A shallow reading of the Black Power movement tells a victorious story of self-reliance and resistance. However, this superhero tale of people overcoming adversity really only tells half of it. The other half shows the personal sacrifice and the trauma that these individuals endured. To explain my argument, I'll talk about the construction of Angela Davis and the Mangrove Nine. Angela Davis is a Black American radical, and she became the embodiment of Black Power after the FBI issued a search warrant for her, having falsely charged her with conspiracy to murder. While hiding from the authorities, Davis became a recognizable figure as mugshots of her wearing her afro was broadcast not only in the US, but internationally. In the eyes of the state, Davis represented violent radicalism, but for many in the Black community and on the political left, she became a heroine, a representation of Black Power in action. During the anti-racist struggles of the 1970s, Davis organized and spoke at countless demonstrations where she gave rousing speeches supporting Black Power, communism, and prison abolition. Davis defiantly spoke out against state violence, racism, and societal inequality. This was her resistance stage. Now, in the aftermath of her acquittal, her happy ending stage, Davis became a revolutionary style icon, and consequently her image was reproduced as a fashion symbol within radical and mainstream circles. Her image with the afro and the Black Power fist was printed on posters, clothing, and referenced heavily in popular music. Davis, a self-confessed communist, even had her image being used for a $500 Prada t-shirt and also in the UK's counter-radicalization program, Prevent. So here you can really see how Angela Davis has been constructed both as this Black Power hero, but also as a fashion icon, but to the extent that her political ideology and the years of struggle that she went through have been overlooked. This, as Davis criticized in a 1994 essay, is a disturbing exploitation of her image which erases her radical politics from popular discourse. She noted that there was a danger that this historical memory may become, quote, ahistorical and apolitical. She went on to describe how the constant reference to her afro was, quote, humiliating because it reduced a politics of liberation to a politics of fashion, end quote. In our collective memory of Davis, we forget to recognize the years she went on the run from the FBI. We forget to recognize the death threats she faced when she was speaking out. We forget to recognize the mental and physical toll that this would have had on her. But instead, to us, she's merely a hero and a fashion icon. Now, the second example I want to talk about is the Mangrove Nine. So the case of the Mangrove Nine began in 1970 after a group of 9 local activists were charged with riot and affray after demonstrating against police harassment of the Notting Hill Mangrove restaurant. The Mangrove restaurant had been a popular centre for the Ladbroke Grove West Indian community, but the police consistently raided and harassed the owner and one of the 9, Frank Critchlow. After a string of raids, a street demonstration was called and an estimated 150 demonstrators marched to the local police station of the area chanting Black Power, People Power, and Hands Off Black People. Out of all of the demonstrators, and like I say, there was about 150, 9 community leaders were charged with offences such as riot and affray. Their trial lasted 55 days and it was taken to the highest court, the Old Bailey. In their resistance stage, they challenged court authority, they demanded an all-black jury, and 3 members of the 9 even self-represented. Despite their all-black jury application being denied, they succeeded in convincing a majority white jury to side in their favour and against the British state. Their success was a key moment in British history as it demonstrated Black power in action, and it led to the first and an official acknowledgement of institutional racism within the Metropolitan Police. A happy ending, or so we thought. In this tale, we often overlook the personal trauma that the 9 endured. Barbara Bees and Althea Jones-LeQuant, the 2 female members of the 9, both faced huge emotional stress, as the former had an 18-month-old child whilst the latter was pregnant during the case. And Jones-LeQuant has really spoken about her personal struggles following the trial. And similarly, Bees has described the fears that she had about her child being put into the care system. The trial also led to a breakdown of friendships within the group as the pressure really mounted on them and certain individuals clashed over their court strategy. In the aftermath of the trial, the 9 became heroes in British history, but for some of the members, such as Rothwell Kentish, the trauma continued. Kentish's experience during the trial and the police harassment he subsequently endured caused tremendous stress, which, as his family said, remained with him until his death. This example shows the complexities of Black Power heroes, and these complexities extend to all historical figures. In recent interviews I did with American former Black Panther Denise Oliver-Velez and her British counterpart Beverly Bryan, they spoke to me about the harsh realities of the movement. So Bryan spoke about the many young people who became, quote, casualties of the movement and who were subsequently left broken. And likewise, Oliver-Velez raised awareness of the American older brothers who are still being incarcerated for their involvement in Black radical politics. Whilst Davis and the Mangrove Nine are rightfully praised for their heroic activism, I think we do them a massive disservice by glamorizing their struggle. By ignoring the harsh realities of these figures, we reduce their humanity and present this rose-tinted narrative of their lives. By failing to engage with the uncomfortable and complex realities of our heroes, we do both them and us a massive disservice. Ignoring the sacrifices and extreme hardships they endured oversimplifies their struggle and inhibits us from learning from it. Examining our heroes in their entirety will help us bridge a gap between their past struggles and the struggles of today, as it will enable us to marvel at their triumph whilst learning from their tribulations. Thank you.